So today I'm a bit closer to the camera because I need to be able to reach the computer to share some screens with you. Oh God, I forgot what the word is. There's one specific screen I need to show you later on. So welcome to my channel. My name on this channel and on the internet is Koala. That is what I go by. So welcome. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the runes. I work with a specific set of runes in the Nordic tradition that is called the Uthark. So there's quite a couple of different sets of runes that are elder or younger and that sort of thing. And I work with the Uthark that starts with the rune of Ur or Urus. And I think throughout these English videos, I'm going to try and use the English name for the runes. And if you want to know the Swedish ones, then yeah, I'm just going to have to, you're going to have to ask. Or just watch my Swedish videos, which might be a bit hard if you only speak English. But I'm gonna try to use the English words for the runes. I don't use the English words in my practice, like the English names of the runes, of course. I use the Swedish ones, those are like closest to my heart. But when I teach the runes, to English-speaking people, I use the Swedish names as well. But I think for just recognition purposes, it would be good if I use the English names of the runes. So yeah, I'm gonna try and do that. So I'm gonna show you the screen that I want to share. And that is a picture of all of my runes, one of my sets of runes. So this is it. So the empty rune is up here just to differentiate between the first rune that is on the right, and then we go clockwise around, and then we find the last rune on the left side of the empty one. So the Uthark that I work with are a set of 24 runes that you work with for magical purposes, and there are also 25 runes if you include the empty rune, which is included in Divination. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about the Uthark that I work with and the runes in general. I will go into each one of the runes or like sets of them in later videos. Like I will be talking about like the elements in one video and the runes attached to that. And I'm going to talk about other aspects of the universe and the cosmos and the magic and I'm going to talk about runes attached to that. And because 24 or 25 runes doesn't confine within a short video like this. And then after I've talked a little bit about the Uthark, I'm going to talk about the possible ways of working with runes. There are 3 different ways I'm going to go into a little bit, which is bind runes, healing, and divination or spa. And then last but not least, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to work with the runes and how to learn through working with the runes more precisely. I'm not going to talk about how to work with the runes. That will be a lot of videos. And I will talk about that, but later on in other videos. Today I'm going to talk about how to learn from the runes and learn about cosmos and ways of working with the Nordic shamanism. So you see in front of you the Uthark with the first rune on the right side of the empty rune, and that is called Ur in Swedish and Urus in English. So that is the rune that contains all the energy needed for the Big Bang to happen. So this is a rune that tells you that you need a lot of energy or to give you that energy depending on how you work with it. If you work with divination, it's gonna tell you your answer to your question regarding most commonly like beginnings or that you need a lot of energy. So today I draw that rune, asking my runes this morning what I need for today. So I pulled out, I got the Urus rune, and it told me that I need to recuperate. I need time. I need some downtime to just rest and recuperate. Because I had an injury a couple of weeks ago, and I just need that's what I need today. So if I was gonna work with the rune and its magical properties, I would use it to gain the energy that I need to do something, or I would work with it in a healing perspective, and I'm gonna talk about that later on. So, for instance, right, the first rune of the Uthark talks about the beginning of universe. And then as we progress along the Uthark, there are elements coming into being, into creation. There are creation happening by the giants of the Nordic tradition, just throwing out, like, imagine the Big Bang, and everything is like compiled and nothing is yet, and then you have the energy to create all that, and then the moment of creation, almost like the moment of birth, that burst of energy is shown within the second rune, that is Tush in Swedish and Turisas in English. And then after that we have order, and so after chaos we have order. And then we have direction, and then the first element comes into creation, or is described by the runes. Can I pause this video? No, I can't. So, and then there is balance, and then after a while there are other aspects and other elements, and then halfway through the runes there are mountains and valleys, and there are plants and trees and all of that stuff, and then there are the animals come into creation, and then there is humans, spirits, and integration of all aspects, and then there are traditions, and then there are balance between the dark and the dark and the light, all duality of all life, all the universe. And then after that there is success, almost, and I don't know the proper English word for this. I'm gonna have to look it up for next time. But essentially the runes make up like a tale of creation, so that you can, and then you can dive into each of those aspects through the runes. So yeah, and I'm gonna stop sharing this now. So screenshot if you need it. That's okay with me. So that was a little bit about the runes, not even each one of the runes, because that's gonna be a lot of videos later on to cover all of that. And in Swedish, I have 2 sets of rune meditations, with like one meditation for each rune to get to know them deeper and to really connect with them. And I'm gonna see what I can do on in English to make the same kind of content, or like almost the same kind of, if I'm gonna do meditations or rituals, I don't know yet. We're gonna have to see about that. Make suggestions if you want something specific, if you're interested in something specific according to the runes. So next up, I'm going to talk a little bit about the possibilities when you're working with the runes. So the first way of working with the runes are by making bind runes. And bind runes are binding runes together for a specific purpose. So it can be to bind the different energies together to make something happen. It can be a purpose of drawing something closer to you, or binding something away, that is like banishing magic, to banish something away from your life. So depending on your purpose, you go about this different ways. But the one thing that's in common is that you work with your intuition so you listen to the runes and you bind the runes together. That makes most sense. You can do this in two ways, and one way is to just take your purpose, and then when you get to know, you really need to know the runes to bind runes. You can't just do it on a whim. You have to know the different, how the different runes, what aspects they cover and represent, and then you also have to know a little bit about the numerical magic within the runes. So numerically we work with the numbers 1 through 24, and each rune has a different number attached to it. Of course, it's the order they come in the Uthark. So there are some numbers that are more magical than others, and it's number 3, 6, and 9. But we work with all the numbers from 1 to 24. And so when you bind runes together and you count, you calculate the final number, then you can get a sense of the energy that is held within that bind rune. And then it matters if you use wood to carve it on, if you use clay to bind it with, or whatever you use to make that. And if you're going to make it as an amulet, or if you're going to burn it or bury it, or whatever you're going to do, everything matters when you work with them. So the first way to bind runes together are to just choose a purpose and then go like, I wonder which runes make sense to this. What can enhance and specify my intention. And then the other way is to listen to the runes and ask the runes what runes are the best runes for me with this purpose right now. So I teach this. So maybe I will go deeper into it in a later video if requested. So we'll see about that. So the other way, so before moving on, bind runes can be bound to fulfill different needs, to fulfill different intentions, and to I have a bind rune that is for my highest good, so I can wear it. I made it into a necklace that I can wear when I need some extra guidance, or when I feel I need some support from the spiritual realms, or the spirit animals and guides. And then I also have a rune that is connected to my birth date. It's called my life rune. So when I numerically calculate which number I'm born with, and I do that from my birth date, then I get a number that is connected to a rune, and that is my life rune or my birth rune. And I have made a bind rune to complete that, so that all the aspects that I as a person don't hold, all the aspects and the whatever I'm bad at or good at, I will be complemented through this bind rune. So it will help me throughout my life. And then I also make one bind rune a year to help me with my intentions for that year, because I walk the Nordic wheel of the year, and I work with the sun, the moon, and the seasons, and so that bind rune helps me to really connect with my intentions and help me fulfill them throughout the year. So that you don't have to make a bind rune specifically to draw something in, like money or wealth or health or whatever, or love. You can make it for other purposes as well. And one of these purposes also are oh my god, it's hard to like speak as fast as I think when it's not my language. So you can make bind runes to aid in your health journey, right? But there are also other ways of working with the runes and your health. So there's sound healing through the runes and through the different names of the runes or the sounds of the runes. So for instance, I have a rune that, let's say, I'll pull a rune out of my bag and I'm gonna show you. So here's like the rune that is called Raid in Swedish and Raido in English. And so the name of this rune is the Chariot Rune. It's connected to the god Thor and how he travels across the sky in his chariot and makes thunder and lightning. So the name of the rune is the Chariot Rune, and that's just a complete translation from Swedish to English on my part. But the sound of it is Raido in English and Raid in Swedish. So I would use the sound of it for healing purposes, not the name of it. So maybe I can find an easier one to exemplify. No, this is not easier. That has a really complicated name. Yeah, so this is Algis. It's the same name in both Swedish and English. So this is Algis, Algiz, and that's the sound of the rune is Algis. The name of the rune is actually the elk rune or the moose rune. So the elk rune is like the name of it. So I would use the sound Algis to aid in my healing, and not the name of it that is connected to the animal of elk, right? So I sound the runes for ritual purposes, and I sound them when I'm gonna use my runes for divination, and I sound them for healing. And I'm gonna go a bit deeper into it in a while. In part 2 of this video, I'm gonna talk a little bit about how to learn through the runes. So just before I end this part of the video, I'm gonna talk a little bit about how divination. Divination is probably the most common and most well-known way of working with the runes, except maybe for bind runes. Bind runes are quite popular and quite like a lot of people know about the existence of bind runes. So a lot of people also know about the existence of divination or spore, when you spore with runes. So different ways for divination or different mediums are like tarot cards and mirrors and water, the moon, oracle cards, tea leaves, almost anything on earth, bones. So you can use runes for divination and do rune readings, and that's like day to day. That's the biggest part of my life when it comes to the runes. That's like 50-50 with actually living with the runes and their energies, right? So divination is a big part of it. And I'm working on putting together a course in English for spore for divination with the runes. So that's all for this part of the video, and I will see you in just a moment for the second part, where I'm gonna go a little bit into how to learn through the runes, learn about Nordic shamanism. So see you in a while. Like and subscribe, please, and I will be right back. Walk in beauty, my dears, and Arsuk Frieder.